In her 46th Grand Slam appearance, Madison Keys has won her maiden major singles title at the Australian Open, defeating two-time defending champion Aryna Sabalenka 6-3, 2-6, 7-5. Keys, who returns to her career high of number 7 in the world, is the third American woman to win a slam in this decade, followed by Swiatek and Coco Gauff. But this title run is unparalleled and will go down as one of the greatest in tennis history. Hey, I'm Christian Bassnight, and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you have not yet already, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell. If you haven't already, why? Come on, subscribe. Also, so you're notified whenever I post more videos throughout the year. First, giving my match analysis, being brutally honest, Sabalenka was piss poor in the opening set. She hit just 4 winners to 13 unforced errors, and it all started with her getting broken in the opening game for real. That enabled Keys to settle down on this match a lot more, and Maddie played lights out in the first 6 games of this match. It looked like the start of the 2023 US Open Finals because Maddie was just overpowering Sabalenka. Aryna had no clue what to do out there, and it's not surprising because Keys probably hits the biggest ball on the women's tour by far. And Aryna does not quite handle big pace players the best. I mentioned in my match preview that she struggled the most against Clara Towson and Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova, 2 big hitters, but she was able to get past them because they didn't have the same moxie or experience in the end to get them through, but Keys clearly did here. And Maddie was not only hitting incredible shots like this, but she was consistent with her shot making, hitting 11 winners to just 10 unforced errors in the opening set. And that Keys backhand has been a major difference maker in her recent surge of form. That down the line shot off that wing was a big weapon in set number 1 for the American. Aryna also struggled a lot on her first serve, and she was broken 3 times in the opener. She only won 43% of her first serve points, which is horrible for someone who is known to have a solid serve as she does. Sabalenka's average first serve speed was only 103 miles per hour. It's not bad, but compared to Keys' 108 miles per hour in the opening set, it was a decent difference. Sabalenka just also had not been serving as big throughout this Australian Open, as she's been trying to hit it with more spin, and she paid the price for it against Keys, who got some really good reads on them. It was teeing off on her first serves like it was the second serve. I did notice, though, a dip in Maddie's level at 5-1 when Sabalenka saved a set point in that 5-1 game, and then Maddie got broken in the following game. But Sabalenka did not take adequate advantage of Keys' dip, and she got broken to really give Keys the set. And I think that was a decent missed opportunity for Sabalenka. If she somehow might have clawed back in the opening set, it could have been her match, but that still would have been a tough ask because Keys would have still had the break advantage and could have served for the set at 5-4. Sabalenka, though, she definitely improved on both her serving and returning in set number 2. And Keys, meanwhile, she dipped on both fronts for sure. Maddie had an incredible 86% first serve in percentage in the opening set, but that dipped down to 59%. Those increased second serve looks obviously aided Sabalenka, who improved her second serve return positioning as she began taking the second serve of Keys earlier on the rise and attacked it a lot more. In the first set also, Keys won 67% of her second serve points, but in the second set, that number dipped to 38%. And Maddie also, meanwhile, she started missing quite a few of her returns, notably on that backhand side, and that was off overall for that second set, for most of the second set. And Sabalenka capitalized well on this. She had an excellent 83% first serve in rate, first of all, and she won 68% of points behind that first delivery. And their last meeting in Beijing a couple months ago, which Sabalenka won 6-4, 6-3, Aryna utilized the drop shot a lot, and that was why she was so dominant in that match, just really controlling Keys with the drop shot and preventing Keys from dictating. And perhaps that was the biggest shot of the entire second set for Sabalenka. She won nearly every point when she employed it. The third set was going to be a little bit of a toss-up for me, living in the moment, because while Sabalenka had the momentum and was going to be the fresher of the two, playing less tennis overall, Keys had been more battle tested and she was better prepared for 3-set matches, winning all 7 of her 3-set matches she played in 2025. I was hoping for better quality overall of tennis because I really wasn't pleased by the opening 2 sets. They really didn't play their best tennis at the same time, but the third set definitely delivered, and my heart was beating so fast especially when it was in the later stages of the third set. And this was actually the first time women's final since the 2012 U.S. Open between Serena and Azarenka, where it went to 5-all in the third set, which is crazy. Both women served very well in this decider set, and we didn't see any break points until the final game for Maddy Keys. But there were still some slight openings for Sabalenka, especially. Keys, though, displayed that same clutchness that she showed against Iga, and that's the reason why she won this match. First, she was down love 30 at 1-all, but she dug herself out with 3 solid points thanks to her making those first serves. Then at 3-all, 30-all, Maddy hit 2 down the line winners in a row to hold serve. Then at 5-all, 15-30, Maddy first served a solid serve up the tee. Then she hit a screaming down the line forehand winner, and then she backed that up by wrong footing Sabalenka with another forehand winner. Then in the final game, it was just a mixture of Maddy just forcing it, applying more pressure to Sabalenka, who threw in a couple of, I guess, forced/unforced errors, and then Maddy hit 2 winners, I believe, in that final game, especially the final winner forehand inside out to claim her maiden slam title. Again, as I mentioned before, I wasn't that pleased by the quality of this final at the start, and I expected much better from both women, but for sure, I think both were very nervous, which is understandable, and their respective sets won. But the final set delivered. It definitely delivered, and it made up for it. And I feel like this was the best women's slam final that we've had since the 2023 Roland Garros Championships between Swiatek and Muchova. The margins between these two were razor thin. Maddy literally won 1 more point than Aryna did. It's insane. Now, I got to talk about Aryna Sabalenka, as people were on her and criticized her for smashing her racket right after hugging Maddy. And like the commentator said, it of course is not the best look. It does make her seem like somewhat of a, I guess, sore loser. But to be honest, I'm not mad at it because it's real. It's her real raw emotions, and she lost a heartbreaking slam final after coming so close to achieving the three-peat in Melbourne, which has not been done at this slam in 25 years since Martina Hingis. You really can't expect players to be all perfect all the time. You can't expect them to be robotic and try to suppress it. Of course, you could have handled it a little bit better, but that's just how she handled it. Again, it's not the prettiest look, but it's just Aryna. It's how she handled it. First of all, we're not in her shoes. Second of all, if you watch Sabalenka, you already know that she's a little bit volatile sometimes with her emotions. That's what makes her Sabalenka. That's why so many people love her. It's perfectly fine to judge her and stuff like this, but some of the hate I saw was a little bit too much. And I feel like people expect tennis to be this pristine sport, so it's supposed to be so gentleman-like and ladylike, and nobody's perfect. Like, that's simple as that. Nobody's perfect. And Aryna said that she smashed the racket and left the court to get her anger out, and so she could give a good speech. And again, that's real, to be honest. I feel like if Sabalenka had restrained it, knowing her, like, she knows herself well. Likely, if she restrained it and didn't get that anger out, she might have been a little bit salty. But she knows that that's not good. She wants to go out and give a good speech and be her usual funny self, which she was, poking fun at her team and whatnot. So overall, I prefer her smashing her racket and doing that and giving a good, genuine speech as opposed to her keeping it in and being all reserved and giving, not a great speech at all. So I overall don't have too much of an issue with this. Of course, I know some people would not give Sabalenka the same grace if Serena or Venus or other players did the same thing, but simply we can only focus on Sabalenka here, and that's all I have to say on that. Of course, Sabalenka wanted this very bad, the three-peat, and it sucks because she was on top of the world. This was literally Rod Laver Arena. She was dominating. She hadn't lost a match in Melbourne, I think, in 20, she hadn't lost 20 matches. She won 20 matches in a row at the Australian Open. So it's going to be a tough pill for her to swallow. I wonder if this might take a dampen on her aura overall at the hard court slams, at least. But even aside from hard court slams, Sabalenka is just so tough, period, at the slams, at Roland Garros and at Wimbledon. So I think she'll be okay. I also think Sabalenka has come back from worse losses, to be honest. Probably that Coco loss at the US Open Finals in 2023 might sting a little bit harder than this one. She's also has some rough semifinal losses too. But unlike with those losses, this wasn't about Sabalenka collapsing. Maddy was simply the better player. She was the better player, in my opinion, from start to finish. She totally deserved this win. So I feel like it won't hurt her as bad because Sabalenka didn't lose the match. Maddy won it. Simple as that. Now, of course, got to talk about the woman of the hour, Madison Keys. Words cannot describe how legendary of a run this is. First, we got to talk about her run to the title. She first beat Danielle Collins in the third round, former slam finalist, then Aryna Rybakina in 3 sets, former Wimbledon champion, a top 10 player, then Alina Svitolina, a former top 5 player in the quarterfinals. She came back from a set down, and I was doubting her then, but then she totally shocked me when she beat Iga, the world number 2, 5-time slam champion, recovering from match point down. And then here, of course, Sabalenka too, world number 1, 2-time reigning Australian Open final champion. And Keys became the first player since Svetlana Kuznetsova to win a slam after being the world number 1 and world number 2. And Svetlana did that at the 2009 Roland Garros Championships. Keys just proved me wrong this entire tournament. Not the entire tournament, but I say quarterfinals on, because I did anticipate her to beat Rybakina and make the semifinals. But she just played so much tennis this past year. And when I made my preview, I was low-key kind of close to having her win the title. But I thought she just played Adelaide. She also played Auckland, but she won Adelaide the week before this tournament. I just don't see it with her. That's a lot of tennis. That's a lot of tennis, and she is prone to having, these injuries. Namely, she got injured at Wimbledon, literally this past year, and I think she could have won that tournament low key. I think she knew nothing was stopping her from winning this title. Absolutely nothing. I don't know, God destined her to win this title. It's simple. That's the only explanation I have, because the way she dug herself out of these holes, she just wasn't going to be stopped. I've never seen Madison Keys be this clutch ever in my life. That Swiatek semifinal just speaks for itself, man. That's when I knew that she was on one this tournament. She just knew, again, she wasn't going to lose this tournament. The way she staved off break points against Iga, staved off the match point, and just, yeah. And then a 2 in this final, staving off. She didn't face a break point in the deciding set, but getting herself out of those holes with winners, screaming winners. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this ever in my life. And it's crazy, again, because she's never been known as this clutch player. In fact, Keys had the reputation of crumbling in the tight moments. So for her to rise to the occasion and the biggest stage of her life, what in the world, Madison Keys? What in the world? That's why this win is so special. Madison has endured so many tough losses in her career. Of course, that 2017 US Open final, that was her last slam final that she competed in before this one. She lost against Sloane, her good friend, where she only won 3 games. And she honestly wasn't sure that she'd get back to this point, especially because the last time she played Sabalenka in a slam, it was the US Open semifinals in 2023 after she lost that 6-love, 5-3 lead. She was devastated, just absolutely devastated. It was such a touching moment for her. And when she started getting choked up in the trophy ceremony, my eyes were starting to water. I didn't fully shed a tear. My eyes were just watering. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. It's just also surreal for me too. I have a personal connection to this as well, because I was literally there in front of Maddie, or she was in front of me 50 days ago at the Charlotte Invitational Exhibition, and she had the press conference. She was there with Sloane, Carlos, Francis, and everyone thought, people were talking about, Carlos completing the career slam at the Australian Open, him winning it. Nobody was really talking about Madison. No one was really giving her a whole lot of attention. But even then, deep down, I'm like, I feel like she's primed for a good year. I feel like she's primed, and she proved it. I noticed she first made that racket change too, and I noticed the new serve as well. And those two have been big key changes in her being able to handle herself in the pressure moments, and of course, ultimately win the slam. And then I gotta give credit to her coach / husband, Bjorn Fratangelo. She for sure benefited a lot from the new courtside coaching pods, as Bjorn was able to give her key instruction and calm her down in the tight moments. And clearly Maddie thrives under the married life, because for her to literally get married in the offseason 3 months ago and come back and win your very first slam as a married woman, they're going to be a happy couple. That's all I can say. They definitely going to last. I'm so happy for Maddie. Again, words can't describe how happy I am, because for the longest time, she was regarded as the best U.S. women's player to never win a slam. And so for her to do it the way that she did, just showing mental toughness like the world has never seen before, Like, it was just simply her time. That's all I got to say. It was simply her time. Madison Keys was destined to win the slam. To me, I think this might be the best slam win that we've seen this decade thus far, as far as like the story and the run to the actual title. Emerald Kanu's US Open win from 2021 might rival that. Of course, she was only 18 years old, came from qualifying, didn't drop a set. No one's going to top that. But Maddie, and the story again behind this, it'll go down in history. The real ones will know Madison Keys' Australian Open 2025 run. Another question I have is that, will Madison Keys win another slam? She won't be a one and done like a Marion Bartoli or Flavia Pineda, as she said that she plans on coming back here in Melbourne next year to try to defend her title. I think she can. Again, I think she really should have won Wimbledon last year. She suffered that heartbreaking injury from against Paolini, which again just makes this even more special because that was a heartbreaking moment, and she knew she had a great chance. So to put that behind her and win, yeah, I got sidetracked there. But back to the question at hand. Keys has always been a player who goes deep at majors, consistently makes a slam second week. So now that she got this monkey off her back and actually, won a slam, why not? Why not win more slams? I think she could maybe win three more slams, to be honest, before she hangs it up. She is going to turn 30 next month, and she might want children, so it's also up to her and her motivation as well and her body. But if those things aren't as much of a factor for her, then I can see her win more slams. And like Sabalenka said, she can be a consistent top 5 player. But regardless of whether she does win more, let's focus on this one. Maddie is finally a slam champion, y'all. And that's all that matters. Congratulations, Maddie. Well deserved. That is all I have for my Aussie Open Women's Final recap video. And let me know your thoughts on this match and whether you believe that this is the greatest slam final win that we've seen this decade. Also, I want to thank y'all so much for riding with me throughout this tournament. I'll probably still make comments on the men's final. There's a chance I don't, but I just want to thank y'all so much for your support, not only on YouTube, but I really appreciate the comments on Instagram and TikTok. It really means a lot and it inspires me to keep pushing and achieving my goals with this career. So I really, from the bottom of my heart, I thank y'all so much for your support, and I will see you next time here on Christian's Court.